What's up, nation? Really appreciate everybody for tuning in. My honest thoughts on Jerry Jones talking about the offense only scored when the defense allowed them. I guess that's from his perspective. I cannot get mad at it. But when you look back at the game, especially game one, we can say, well, that's not the case nor the scenario. And, of course, you can look at the games that we lost and say, well, the opposing teams were not playing the way we supposed to want them to play as relates to the defensive side of the ball. But there's so much room for ambiguity with that, and especially the fact that Dak Prescott is in a contract year and he's not able to prove it. He's not. That's just the reality of it. And Jerry, on one end, he can say, yeah, I believe in Dak Prescott. I believe in what he can bring to the table. But in the same breath, he can say, well, it was during garbage time. And that philosophy from the national media stuck on the Joneses and stuck on the Cowboys organization forever, ever, ever. And I think that they're going to use that against the young Rain Dakota Prescott. That's just how it's going to go. And that's just how it goes. I know for sure that Jerry, he can't come out and say, well, I don't believe in Dak, right? He can't come out and say, well, I believe that we're going to take a real good look at one of these rookies out here, the Trevor Lawrences, the Trey Lance, the Zach Wilsons, who else out there? Justin Fields of the world, right? Jamie Newman, whoever is out there, as it relates to the quarterback groove. And I know we can look at this team and say, well, if you build for the defense, maybe we wouldn't have these warts as it relates to the overall collective record for the 2020 season. We can talk about that. We can go back and forth about that. But the reality is this right here, Cowboy Nation. The Joneses are the Joneses. They do what they want to do, and all we can do is just sit back and be in the mercy seat of what they're going to do. We can say, yeah, with any quarterback that you get now, even if, let's say you go the route of a rookie quarterback, so you're going to put him behind this offensive line? You really think that La'el Collins is going to be 100% next year? You really think that Tyron Smith is going to be right next year? You really want him behind this particular team? Well, as it relates to the quarterback? Oh, historically bad defense? You really want to see a young quarterback in that particular situation? All I can do is just sit back and just watch. That's all we can do. We can go over the draft thoughts, the draft expectations, and I can tell people till I'm blue in the face, yeah, draft numbers and drafting things are great, but one thing that you don't want to have out of this particular draft that's heading into 2021 is a bunch of rookies out there, inexperienced guys, because there will be growing pains, there will be some hardships and some headaches or what have you. So in order for this team to propel themselves to the right direction, they going to have to wheel and deal. They're going to have to package some of those picks and move up or what have you, or move back and get multiple guys. And when I say move up, I'm talking about from the third round and back into the second, double dipping into the second round. Because if you depended on just these draft guys to come out and show you something, it's going to be some growing pains, regardless of who we get as it relates to the defensive side of the ball, as it relates to the offensive side of the ball, or whatever you do in the draft, there will be some growing pains. That's just the flat reality. Jeff Okudah, everybody said last year he's the number one cornerback, right? He's not even starting over there in Denver land. This year is a developmental year for him. Can barely see the field out there. Not saying that he's trash or anything. Yes, he got some room to improve on. But there goes to show you that sometimes the guy that you have the highest expectations on may not start day one or week 3, week 5, year one. So if you go out there and get a whole bunch of rookies out there and you're expecting to have a winning caliber results, it don't work that way, Cowboy Nation. I wish it did. And when we look at the draft, collectively speaking, we're not doing bad with CeeDee Lamb. We didn't do bad with Diggs. We didn't do bad with Tyler Biadasz. Of course, we moved up to get him. We didn't do bad with Nivell Gallimore. And look where we were drafting then. So that's why I'm always with the mindset, hey, let's continue to fight things out and figure things out. But even those guys that I just mentioned, they still got their warts. They still got their growing pains that they got to go through. We just not seeing Nivell Gallimore. And newsflash, we didn't win that game, by the way. And we just not seeing it. What week it was? What, week 8, week 9? That goes to show you that now you can try to build long and say, yeah, I'm getting all of these draft picks. But how you going to put that person out there on the field? You're going to have to go through some growing pains, baby. That's all the time that I have for this moment. I just want to be able to talk to you guys about that. Jerry Wayne Jones. They only moving the ball. The Cowboys. Not talking about Dak. But we only moving the ball when the defense allowed us to do it. Long way to go with this team. Crazy.